You know the exact feeling. You have a problem with the product, so you log into your account and you type out this incredibly detailed explanation of the issue into the little chat box on the website.
Oh, the dreaded chatbot.
Right. And the automated bot inevitably fails to understand the actual nuance of your problem. So, it transfers you to a live agent.
Yeah.
And the very first thing that human agent asks is, can I get your account number and a brief description of your problem?
It's the worst.
It is. You grit your teeth, you dig out the account number, and you type it all out again. 10 minutes later, they realize you actually need the enterprise support team, so they initiate another transfer. The new agent pops on the screen and says, "Hi there, can I get your account number?" It is just this universal hair-pulling frustration.
Completely.
You are dealing with the exact same company, navigating their own proprietary system, and yet you have to keep introducing yourself like you just walked in off the street.
It is deeply frustrating because it shatters the illusion of a relationship.
Yeah.
What feels to you like a minor customer service annoyance, sort of a glitch in the matrix, is actually a symptom of one of the absolute biggest structural problems in modern business today.
Wow. Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We are talking about this massive, invisible fault line running right through the foundation of the corporate world.
And that structural fault line is exactly our mission for today's deep dive. We are looking at why modern business interactions so often feel completely disjointed to you, the customer, and how the smartest companies out there are actively engineering solutions to fix it.
Which they desperately need to do.
Exactly. And we are pulling from a really robust stack of sources to figure this out. The backbone of our analysis is this comprehensive piece on the unified customer journey, integrating B2C, B2B, and B2B2C systems.
It's a great foundational text.
It really is. And we're also layering in the strategic implications from some heavy-hitting research reports by Gartner, Salesforce, McKinsey, and Harvard Business Review. Synthesizing those different perspectives is crucial, because to understand why you get asked for your account number 3 times in 10 minutes.
Right.
We have to look past the customer service rep and examine the actual digital architecture of how these businesses are constructed.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the core disconnect our sources highlight is that modern customer relationships almost never exist in a single, clean channel anymore.
No, they really don't.
Think about your own digital footprint. You might buy a physical product directly from a company's website on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, you use that exact same company's enterprise software suite at your job. Then on Friday, you interact with their brand again through a completely different third-party marketplace.
Exactly.
In your mind, you are just one human being having a continuous, evolving relationship with one brand.
Right. From your vantage point, it is a single timeline.
Yeah.
Inside the company, however, that reality completely shatters. Those 3 interactions you just mentioned are not being fed into a central brain.
They aren't. No, they're being captured by completely isolated databases that cannot see each other. The system literally registers you as 3 entirely separate entities.
That is, I was trying to think of how to visualize this experience, and it is exactly like going to a dinner party.
Okay, I like this.
You walk through the front door, and the host greets you, takes your coat, asks how your commute was. Great, totally normal interaction.
Right.
Then you walk into the kitchen to grab a drink, and the host walks up to you, extends a hand, and says, "Hi, I don't believe we've met. What's your name?"
Yes.
You just brush it off, grab your drink, and go to the living room to sit down. But then the host wanders over again and says, "Welcome to my home. Are you a friend of my roommate?"
It's absurd.
It really is. In the hallway, you are a valued guest. In the kitchen, you are a total stranger. In the living room, you're an unverified +1. If a human being did that, you would assume they were losing their mind.
What's fascinating here is why this corporate amnesia happens, because it certainly isn't born out of malice.
Right. They aren't trying to annoy you.
Exactly. Nobody intentionally designs a broken company.
Yeah.
It happens because of legacy, tech accumulation, and departmental isolation.
Okay, so different teams buying different tools.
Precisely. The sales team adopted their database software, 5 years ago, to track pipelines. They see one version of you.
Right.
The marketing team bought a completely different cloud platform last year to track email open rates.
Yeah.
They see another version.
And they don't talk to each other.
Nope. And the customer support team, they're looking at a third, entirely separate ticketing screen that was installed a decade ago.
So the left hand is operating in a completely different century than the right hand.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I mean, if a marketing database blindly pitches you an aggressive ad for the exact pair of shoes you bought yesterday, it makes the entire organization look incompetent.
It really does.
Which forces us to look at why these databases were built in isolation to begin with. We all know the traditional business models, right?
Sure.
Like B2C focuses on fast emotional transactions direct to the consumer. B2B gets bogged down in long procurement cycles, multiple stakeholders, and complex legal contracts.
And B2B2C involves intermediaries, like an embedded payment processor or a white-labeled shipping platform.
Right.
The friction ignites when companies try to run all three of those models under the same roof.
Give me an example of that.
A telecommunications company is perfect for this. They are selling you a family data plan for your personal phones. That's B2C.
Okay.
Simultaneously, they are pitching your employer a massive fleet of mobile routers for the corporate office. That's B2B.
Got it.
And they might be providing the underlying network infrastructure for a completely different budget mobile carrier. That's B2B2C.
Wait, hold on a second. I have to push back on the core premise here.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
The mechanics of those transactions are fundamentally different. If I am buying a $20 personal software license for my laptop, that is just a quick credit card swipe. But if I am the procurement officer buying a $2 million global enterprise deployment of that exact same software, that requires legal review, security audits, and dedicated account managers.
It does.
So shouldn't the systems handling those transactions be isolated just to handle that specific regulatory and operational load? Keeping them separate actually seems to make perfect logical sense from a risk and operational standpoint.
From an internal compliance and operational standpoint, your logic is totally sound.
Right.
The mechanics of processing a credit card versus a multi-year vendor contract are wildly different. But the source material counters that operational logic with a very harsh reality.
Which is?
The customer does not care about your internal org chart. Think about it. When that procurement officer goes home and has an issue with their $20 personal license, and the support agent treats them like a nuisance because they can't see the $2 million enterprise contract attached to that same person's broader identity, the relationship completely fractures. The customer doesn't think, their internal procurement models necessitate data siloing.
No, they definitely.
They think, I just gave you $2 million and you don't even know who I am.
Wow. That reframes the entire problem. Juggling overlapping business models without a centralized architecture doesn't just create inefficiency, it actively destroys customer goodwill.
Exactly. The silos are the disease.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the sources don't just diagnose the disease, they actually outline the structural cure.
Yes, they do.
And that cure is tearing down those walls to create a unified ecosystem, or what the industry calls the single customer view.
The single customer view is like the holy grail of modern business architecture.
Right.
It is the concept that every single department, regardless of whether they are handling a B2C transaction or a B2B contract, pulls from and writes to the exact same centralized profile.
And the text breaks down 3 foundational elements required to actually achieve this. The first is integrated customer data. You can't just have data sitting in different ponds. You have to drain those ponds into a single data lake. Purchase history, behavioral patterns, website clicks, support tickets, it all has to be centralized.
And that leads directly to the second foundation, connected systems. Because pooling the data isn't enough if the tools your employees use can't actually access it.
Oh, right. That makes sense.
The architecture requires real-time, bidirectional communication between systems. When the billing software registers a payment, it needs to instantly ping the marketing platform to halt the abandoned card emails. It cannot wait for an overnight batch upload.
So if the data is seamlessly integrated and the internal systems are finally talking to each other in real time, then the third foundation has to be the output. It's the consistent interaction. It's the actual experience the customer has, whether they are tapping on a mobile app, replying to a promotional email, or talking to a live human being. The brand responds with total situational awareness.
And that situational awareness completely eliminates the dinner party amnesia you were talking about earlier.
Yes.
The business recognizes your history, your preferences, and your current context across every single touch point.
Conceptually, building a single view of the customer sounds incredibly obvious. Every CEO would want this.
Yeah, on paper.
But practically, rewiring a sprawling global company to do this sounds like an absolute logistical nightmare.
It is a massive undertaking.
We need to look at the engine room. Let's talk about the specific tech stack these companies are deploying to pull this off.
No.
Our sources point to a few key enablers, starting with CRMs, customer relationship management platforms, which organize the human-led workflows. But the real heavy lifter here seems to be the CDP.
Yes, customer data platforms. CDPs are arguably the most critical piece of infrastructure in this entire transformation.
Why is that?
Well, they don't just act as passive storage lockers for data. They actively perform identity resolution.
Explain the mechanism there. How does identity resolution actually stitch a profile together?
Okay, think about the breadcrumbs you leave online. On Tuesday, you browse a website anonymously on your phone. The CDP captures that device ID and IP address.
Okay.
On Wednesday, you open your laptop and click a link in an email newsletter. The CDP captures that email address.
Right.
On Thursday, you walk into a physical store and swipe your credit card, which is linked to your phone number.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Right. A traditional database sees 3 totally different events, but a CDP uses deterministic and probabilistic matching to stitch those events together.
Wow.
It realizes that the phone IP, the email address, and the credit card swipe all belong to the same human being, and it merges them into a single unified ID.
So the CDP builds the master profile, then you layer in the marketing automation platforms to ensure the outbound messaging is tailored to that profile.
Exactly.
But the glue holding all of this disparate software together, the mechanism that allows the CRM to talk to the CDP and the marketing platform, are APIs, application programming interfaces.
APIs are the unsung heroes powering the entire digital economy. Without them, integration is just impossible.
I always think of API as like a team of lightning-fast universal translators working at the United Nations.
I like that analogy.
Right. You have the marketing software speaking French, the billing software speaking Japanese, and the support software speaking Arabic. Left to their own devices, they cannot understand a single data packet the other is sending.
Nope. Total miscommunication.
So the API sits directly in the middle. When the Japanese billing software shouts, "This invoice was just paid," the API instantly translates that payload into French and routes it to the marketing software so it knows to stop sending promotional discounts to a customer who already converted.
Nothing gets lost in translation.
Exactly.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, though, there is a massive flashing warning light in the McKinsey and Harvard Business Review analyses.
Oh, what's the warning?
It is this. Technology alone cannot solve organizational fragmentation. You can buy the most expensive enterprise CDP on the market and wire up a million APIs. But if your internal corporate culture is fundamentally broken, the unified experience will fail.
Because you cannot just throw a shiny new SaaS platform at a deeply entrenched human behavior problem.
Exactly.
The playbook for this isn't just an IT upgrade, it's a structural teardown. Our foundational text lays out a 5-step organizational shift. Step 1. You have to actually map the entire customer journey from the outside in, identifying every single touch point.
And step 2 is often the most painful, locating where your scattered data actually lives.
Right, the data audit.
When companies run data audits, they frequently discover their customer information isn't just in the official CRM.
Where else is it?
It's sitting in rogue AWS instances spun up by a marketing intern 3 years ago, or, localized spreadsheets living on a regional sales manager's desktop.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a nightmare. Once you find all those hidden pockets of data, step 3 is integrating them via those API translators, and step 4 is feeding them into that central system, the CDP.
Right.
But step 5 is where the entire initiative lives or dies, aligning teams around shared goals.
Cultural alignment is incredibly difficult because you are fighting against entrenched corporate incentive structures.
Like what?
Imagine a B2B sales director. For the last 10 years, their annual bonus has been tied entirely to protecting their specific pipeline and closing enterprise deals.
Okay, sure.
If you suddenly tell them they need to share all their client data with the B2C marketing department so the company can have a unified view, their immediate instinct is going to be protectionism.
They'll hoard the data.
Exactly. They will hoard the data because sharing it doesn't benefit their specific departmental metrics.
They view the marketing team as a totally different company, so how do executives actually break that bottleneck? I mean, you can't just ask nicely.
No, you have to fundamentally restructure how people are compensated and evaluated. Leadership has to shift KPIs, key performance indicators, away from isolated departmental goals and toward cross-functional customer retention metrics.
Make them share the same goal.
Precisely. The B2B sales director and the B2C marketing lead need to have a shared stake in the overall lifetime value of the customer. It requires aggressive top-down mandates to break those fiefdoms.
Okay, so a company has to audit its entire digital footprint, buy millions of dollars in CDP and API infrastructure, endure the agony of migrating legacy data, and essentially go to war with its own internal departmental politics to force cultural alignment.
That's a lot.
That is a brutal, multi-year undertaking. Why go through the agony? What is the actual mathematical payoff for surviving this transformation?
The payoff is quite literally survival in the digital economy. The metrics provided by the Gartner and Salesforce reports paint a very clear picture of the strategic advantages.
Which are?
First, you drastically increase customer trust and retention. A customer who feels recognized and understood is vastly more likely to renew a contract than one who feels like a stranger.
That makes total sense.
Second, you unlock hyper-accurate analytics. When your data is clean and centralized, you aren't guessing at market trends. You are observing actual unified behavioral patterns.
Which feeds directly into the ultimate holy grail of modern commerce, predictive personalization. This is where the McKinsey report really flexes its analytical muscle.
Oh, definitely.
They note that the value of getting personalization right is multiplying exponentially. We aren't just talking about putting a customer's first name in the subject line of an email anymore. We are talking about next best action architecture.
Exactly. True personalization means the system analyzes the unified data profile and predicts what the customer needs before they even ask.
Like reading their mind.
Sort of, yeah. If a user is repeatedly clicking on a specific technical support article in the B2B portal, the system doesn't wait for them to get frustrated and call. It automatically triggers an email offering a free consultation with an implementation specialist.
That is incredible. And the Harvard Business Review piece drives the stakes home beautifully. They point out that companies are no longer competing strictly on product features or pricing algorithms.
No, they aren't.
They are competing on the battlefield of customer experience.
Because in an increasingly digital, frictionless economy, competition is only ever a click away. The switching costs for a consumer have never been lower.
Right.
If your onboarding experience is fragmented, if your support team is blind to previous interactions, the modern customer doesn't even bother complaining to management anymore.
They just leave.
They just open a new tab, migrate to your competitor, and never look back. A unified customer experience is not a luxury. It is not a nice-to-have feature for a keynote presentation. It is a baseline survival strategy.
Wow.
Businesses that fail to integrate their data and their culture risk becoming completely irrelevant.
But when a company actually gets it right, when they survive the data migration, align the internal incentives, and wire the systems together perfectly, the result is almost magical. The text concludes that successful integration results in relationships that feel intelligent, responsive, and remarkably human.
It strips away the friction of the machine and leaves only the connection.
So what does this all mean? Let's bring this right back to you, the listener. The core takeaway from synthesizing all of this research is that you, as a modern consumer, do not operate in silos.
You really don't.
You do not wake up and think, today I am a B2B procurement officer, and tomorrow I am a B2C retail shopper. You are just a person trying to accomplish a task, and you expect the brands you interact with to have the basic decency to remember who you are.
Yeah.
The companies that are going to dominate the next decade are the ones doing the agonizing, invisible work behind the scenes to make your journey feel completely effortless.
I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over as you go about your week.
Okay.
The next time you find yourself gritting your teeth, filling out the exact same account information for the third time on a company's website, pause for a second. Ask yourself, what do their internal databases look like? What invisible departmental wars are raging inside that building? And more importantly, looking at your own work, the projects you manage, or the business you are building, what invisible silos are you unknowingly forcing your audience to navigate?
That is an uncomfortable but entirely necessary question to ask. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Take a hard look at your own org chart today and keep seeking out those aha moments.